So you know what's crazy? What some of these games go for nowadays. Isn't it nuts? Who would have thought these games would go for this much money? So today, I want to stick with the NES, and I've noticed over the past maybe year or two that prices have sort of leveled off. Games that were around $10, $15 are now around the $5 to $10 mark, maybe even like $5 to $7, which is awesome to see. But there's a lot of really expensive games out there that are still just insane prices. So what I want to talk about today are 5 games that are good on NES, that are worth a lot of money, that are worth playing. So I'm not saying to go out there and spend the money that these are worth. I'm saying get an EverDrive, get a flash cart, check these games out, just play them. Or what you could do is, I won't hold it against you. Go right ahead. So first up, I want to talk about a classic Capcom title, and that is Gargoyle's Quest. Now this one also is available on I think it's on the Wii eShop. It is definitely available on the 3DS. You can pick it up for about $5. Now, I got this game a really long time ago, and the box that I have is in crazy good condition, so I don't even like taking this out and playing it on my NES. I only play it on my 3DS. But this game is fantastic because it is a classic Capcom side-scroller mixed with a JRPG. Who would have thought? So the JRPG elements are very simple. I would compare them to Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. So there is an overworld, there's towns that you can go to, there's different kingdoms, and you play as Firebrand, a fire-breathing demon who is one of the most fucking awesome characters like in any game. He's one of my favorite protagonists. So when you go on, there's different quests that you can get. Going through the game, going through different towns, different kingdoms. There's different items that you can get, and they can up your stamina, your attacks, and your health. So the main way that this game is played is that when you go into certain areas, there's different enemies on the map screen. It takes you to a side scroller. Now a lot of this is very like kind of demonic looking. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of mountains and things like that. It very much fits the aesthetic of being a demon. One thing about this game too that is very different than most Capcom games, it is a lot slower. So you have to actually plan out and be very deliberate with your movements, and fighting enemies, it kind of forces you to take your time and fight each enemy. Now the big thing that you can do in this game is you can grapple on walls, and also Firebrand, he's got wings, so he can hover. Now a lot of the items that you can get with stamina, you can hover for longer, you can grab onto walls in different ways, you can breathe fire, and just upgrade that so your fire breath will be stronger. So this game is just so much fun. There's a really high replay value here of just different items that you can collect and different things that you can do. It's such a fun game. I try to go back like every other year or so and beat this game, so it's worth checking out. This next one is a little known platformer that I used to rent. I never owned it as a kid. Now one of my good friends got me this as a present a few years ago, and that is an Atlas title, Rockin' Cats. This is one of those later release games. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's a really fun platformer. So you play as a blue cat who is trying to rescue his girlfriend from a group of dogs that have taken over this town. Now this game does have a very like 1950s kind of rockabilly feel to it, which I think is pretty cool. So the really cool thing about this game is how you attack. And that is you are a blue cat with a punch glove. That's awesome. I can't think of any other game that does this. So you can obviously punch enemies. You could also grab items, or rather projectiles that are dropped from windows that enemies try to drop on you. And you could also use it to grapple onto ledges, swing around, and that's how you get over a lot of pits. That's actually a kind of difficult movement to do. It takes a little bit of practice to get that down. And also, you can use it to pogo up to higher ledges, very much like in DuckTales. Now, this game is a lot of fun. So it has like a Mega Man sort of character or level select screen. So it starts out on a TV. The first 4 levels you can pick right away, and then there's some other levels that are unlocked later in the game, plus a special bonus level, which is a lot of fun after you beat the game. So this game does have a lot of variety to it of just regular side-scrolling levels. There's levels on skateboards. There's vertical levels where you have to grab onto ledges and swing upwards, and you have to avoid projectiles. This game can get pretty dicey towards the later levels in the game. It gets pretty difficult, and also the controls take a little bit to get down, especially that grapple onto ledges to swing around. It took me a while when I was a kid to get this down. I hated this game at first, and then I got used to it, and it grew on me, and I absolutely love it. Alright, this next one is an on-rails shooter, and that is s.c.a.t. You guys need a second to get the laughs out? I'll give you a second. Go ahead. I mean, it's Special Cybernetic Attack Team, not Eatin' Poopy. So this is an on-rails shooter. This game is fucking awesome. The story is that some robot, alien, whatever force has taken over the Earth and completely destroyed it, and you have to do what? Kick their asses. The opening cutscenes are actually really cool to this game. So what makes this game awesome, aside from it just being an on-rail shooter, is that your character has these two different orbs that are locked in place around them, and you can unlock them and move them either in front or on top and behind, and based on the angle that they're at, they will also fire projectiles as well. So it's very cool to do this. So you can have like one part where you're going upwards and you're firing at enemies on the right, and there'll be enemies coming behind from the left, so you can put your orbs all the way behind you on the right side just to take care of any enemies that are coming at you in that way. On top of that, there's a like plethora of just power-ups and all sorts of different stuff that you can collect. This game does take a lot of memorization. You will pretty much, you just have one life, you have a few continues, and your health bar has about 7 or 8 hits. So playing through this game, it's going to take a lot of repetition, a lot of memorization, but it is a lot of fun. All the levels are designed really cool. It has a ton of detail, so you're going to be going through destroyed cities, destroyed sewers, factories, all sorts of places like that, very much that you would expect in a game like this. And also one other thing that I must say, if you thought the box art for Contra was just a little bit on the nose of that being Stallone and Schwarzenegger, the two characters that you can be in this are either Arnold or Sigourney. They couldn't even change the names. But they picked two awesome action heroes, can't blame them for that. Next one I want to talk about is another shooter, but it's just a regular top-down shooter, and that is fucking Gun Knack. I love this game so much. My father was a huge fan of shooter games, and this was one that we used to rent all the time. I don't know how the hell my dad even found out about this when he came home from the rental store with it one day. We used to play the hell out of this game. So you have your big ones like Gradius and Life Force on NES, but Gun Knack is insane of how fast this game is. It's like almost blast processing Sonic fast of some parts of the game. And the enemies are just relentless in this game too. The game starts off very challenging and it gets difficult as shit towards the end. I've gotten really far in this game. I have never beaten it. Another really awesome thing is the power-up system in this game. So you have your standard power-ups of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 that give you all these different cool shots to play with. So if you pick up a number 1, that'll give you a certain kind of shot, and then if you pick up another number 1, it powers that up further. So you always want to stick with one of them if there's one that you like. Keep collecting that number and you will get so insanely powerful. There's other power-ups that you can have for your missiles and your bombs that you can drop, and also you can upgrade your ship, which also allows even more projectiles, and you are going to need it for how many enemies come at you and how many projectiles are on the screen and just how fast it is. But as difficult as this game is, it's equally fun. I would say this is probably my favorite shooter on the system, and up there with Blazing Lasers on the TurboGrafx, which is my favorite shooter. Gun Knack is probably a very close second. Now this last one, this is a very rare game. This is a game that I picked up a long time ago because I had a ton of nostalgic attachment to it. It was the one heavy hitter that I wanted. And when I got this game years ago, I honestly seriously curbed my NES collecting. I don't even know what this game is going for nowadays. I know it is ridiculously expensive, but it is so much fun. And I'm talking about Panic Restaurant. It is just such a solid, fun platformer. It's ridiculous. It's silly. You're a chef going through his crazy restaurant fighting all sorts of different types of food. But the game has just such a charm to it. It has such great animations. It's such a solid, fun platformer. Now I know that, like I said, this game goes for a ridiculous amount of money. So just get an emulator and just give this game a shot, because it is one that cannot be passed up and it is just awesome. So those are my 5 games that are saying get an EverDrive, get a flash card, or emulate the fuck out of them. Play these games. If you want to spend the money for what they're worth, I've had these for a long time. I honestly really don't know what they're going for nowadays. They are very expensive. But play them. They are fantastic games on the NES that need more love. So what are some of your games? What are some of your rare games on the NES? The rare ones, the expensive ones that we all need to know about and we all should play? Please leave a comment below. Let me know. And of course, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you soon, and keep it pixelated.
Squarepainter, Squarepainter. Pixel Pixel Pints is a retro masterpiece. Earthbound's his favorite game. He's original on the scene. He's a Squarepainter.